Phase of Moon. Third phase of Moon.
Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. Blake Cousins here. We got a special report for you today. Returning guest John DeSouza, retired FBI agent, in regards to his investigation. Is there a UFO cover-up by NASA and other government factions? We're going to break it down. We've got a lot of UFO sightings that we're going to be going over today. So let's just start it off. John, thanks for joining us again right here at Third Phase of Moon.
Oh, thanks, Blake. It is great to be here with you on Third Phase of Moon, another Cousins Brothers production. Good stuff, man.
Well, you know, this is great. I'm glad you're returning once a month on Third Phase Moon, John. So let's start breaking it down with one of the most infamous sightings captured above planet Earth, the Tether incident. It seems to me that there was a public feed and then they discontinued this service after this incident. John, tell us about this.
Well, as you guys know, in 1996, I believe, we had what was called the famous Tether incident with NASA, where we had NASA cameras that basically were on a public feed. They were showing us from the ISS, they were showing us an experiment basically that occurred where they sent a tether out into space, and supposedly the tether broke. It was about 6 miles long, the tether. It broke and then it stuck straight out into space like an antenna. And it was conducting for the first time magnetism and electricity at the same time. Now, they wanted to see what would happen. Well, what happened was we had all of these UFOs, disc-shaped UFOs of extraordinary sizes, many of them, because we had the tether was 12 miles long for comparison, as a basis for comparison, sticking straight out into space like an antenna. And all of these UFOs materialized, appeared, however you want to say it. They just came out of nowhere, and it went from dozens basically to hundreds of them, and they were everywhere, different sizes, but they were all kind of the disc-shaped circular discs with the little shark bite in the side there that we don't know what that shark bite is, and they were all giving off energy signals from the fronts of the vehicles, and they were moving in intelligent fashion. All of them were through frame. It was a tremendous incident. And over at the FBI and CIA and other places, we started getting communication from different intelligence agencies. There was a lot of chatter from one intelligence agency to another in all the nations. And they all started talking with each other saying, what are we going to do? What are we going to say to the public about this incident? How are we going to present it? I'll just say, how are we going to present it to people so that we can keep control of the situation? And that's the chatter that went back and forth. And ultimately the answer was, NASA will take care of this for us. They will put a lid on this. And they did, because as we know, NASA went out with information that what we were seeing were not UFO. These are not the droids you're looking for. These are just icicles and debris that just happens to be perfectly circular and just happens to be giving off energy signals. They're just debris and space trash and icicles and stuff of that kind. And that those energy signatures that we can clearly see, you can clearly see it on the film. Those energy signals are just perfectly timed reflections from the sun. That's all they were. And you know, when you get scientists in lab coats to tell you, stuff that's nonsense, it still sounds authoritative because they're scientists. So that's where we were with that. And that is the reason why I started developing the criteria I call the DESOUZA criteria for examining UFO sightings. And it basically consists of 4 criteria that we examine every time, and that any one of these criteria can show an extra dimensional quality of this sighting. If we if we examine each one of these criteria. Anyway, the criteria are basically appearance, examining appearance, movement, abilities, and then the fourth is special circumstance involved. And I sent you guys, we have a chart that we can throw up so that people can see it on paper. And appearance, we have to examine the appearance of these vehicles. It shouldn't be just metal, just another metal vehicle, pure metallic vehicle being examined. Whenever we have these pure metal, these nothing but metallic appearance type vehicles, people instinctively say, what are we, in the 50s? Are we back in the 50s? Because when you have nothing more than that, it could just be, a hubcap that person throws in the air, basically. And we don't want to be in that situation. So then you examine movement. You examine the movement of the vehicles. Are they moving in an intelligent manner? Human vehicles do not have the ability to do right angles at 1,000 miles an hour. They just can't. Whether they're with people inside or empty, they just don't have the ability to do that. And then other special abilities. Abilities. In 1975, we saw a vehicle that was in Sitgraves National Forest. Travis Walton observed it. It was a vehicle, it was about 60 feet in diameter, but it was filled with light. It wasn't just a metallic appearing vehicle. It was filled with light of some kind. And it also displayed an ability to grab human beings, because it grabbed up Travis Walton and took it with them when they left from that scene. And then fourth, of course, special circumstance. As we'll see in the Turkey video, there's a special circumstance that's pretty special, which is that in the Turkey UFO, the country of Turkey, UFO appearance, we see a very special circumstance, which is that we saw two gray aliens actually inside the vehicle, and you see them, and you even see one of them moving at some point. And that's a pretty powerful circumstance mitigating towards this is an actual extraterrestrial vehicle. And that's what I got.
It's amazing. Speaking of this Turkey video, we're looking at it right now. Apparently it's taken over the years, and the late Dr. Roger Lear, our friend who removed alien implants, was lucky enough to be there and film this, but it happened over and over there in Turkey. And this is incredible footage of what looks to be two alien grays within this ship. You could almost see the plexiglass in front of it. Can you tell us the response over there in Turkey in regards to this? And is there some kind of government promotion of this in that country?
Yeah, what's interesting is that people can look this up. In the country of Turkey has basically departed from the agenda of most nations based on this sighting. The government of Turkey has officially recognized that this sighting was genuine, authentic extraterrestrial vehicle. And in Turkey, they even teach college courses on UFOs based, again, largely on this appearance of the UFO, the Turkey UFO as we call it. Actually, the incident occurred in 3 years consecutive. It occurred in 2006, 2007, and 2008 again. So what happens is the 2006 sighting isn't that great. It's not that impressive. So people who want to be debunkers, they tend to use the 2006 film to say, oh, this was a fake. But in 2008, that video was much better. It was much higher quality, and it just came out better. And that was the one that the great Dr. Roger Lear brought forward in the United States to show all of us before he passed away. And it's a tremendous video. It's the one that we're showing here because even at the end, it actually shows, you can actually see some movement from these vehicles, vehicle that apparently now this vehicle reveals to us what that little shark bite in the side of UFOs really is. Apparently it's just a sort of plexiglass window section in these UFOs, so that if somebody is actually close enough, they can actually see inside. see what's in there. And that's what happened here, the Turkey UFO. We were able to see inside and see what was going on in there. And you see these two gray alien beings. And it's phenomenal. It's amazing footage if you're allowed to see it.
Yeah, isn't it incredible? You got two different countries, the United States and NASA, basically trying to cover up this tether incident with all these UFOs and God knows what else, because we know when NASA captures their footage via the ISS of UFOs that they always try to scrub the feed or cut the feed. And you got this government in Turkey that's promoting the subject matter. They're willing to tell their citizens that this is a possible real event versus trying to come up with these excuses. And there's a big difference, and that's what I think we need to change as a paradigm over here. Before we get into this Fox News white hats, black hats issue that's going on, I want to ask you about the protocol, because we've done some investigation in regards to protocol in regards to possible alien contact or recovery of a vehicle. If a government faction comes across these entities, is there a protocol? Well, apparently through our investigation, the fire department is the only faction of some kind of government operation that has a protocol. If a fireman or a fire department comes across this thing, there's steps that they got to go through. Is there anything like that in the FBI that you're aware of? Is there any protocol in case of extraterrestrial contact within the FBI?
The protocols in the FBI always remain the same, which is that we use the same investigative protocols when you come across something in a criminal milieu where you have a criminal incident where the site of an event is considered like the site of a crime. And so we follow the same protocols to collect information, to collect things. Like for instance, if you come across, you use the 5 S's, for instance, if you're the first responder, first on a scene, which is basically that you seal, you separate, you sample, you survey, and you statements. You take those 5 S's, you deal with any material, any evidence collected with a scene, you deal with it the same way as a criminal investigator. And those are the same protocols that we use, because a UFO sighting will be considered like the scene of a crime, It will be considered with the same protocols and the same ways to treat that, which means that you as the observer are supposed to seal up any samples that you get from the immediate area. You're supposed to survey the area, which means you're supposed to take the what's the temperature, what's the barometer reading, what's the weather that day. You're supposed to survey, you're supposed to take statements, you're supposed to separate the samples or witnesses. Separate them from each other before you take their statements. And then you take their statements. So it's the same protocols that we do for criminal scenes as you would do for a UFO sighting, which is the event scene in that case.
You know, it's interesting because, I'm just curious if they ever did come across anything, or if they already have, if they would even tell us if there was something within the FBI or other government factions of an actual alien being. It's interesting to note. Now, let's get to this. It's kind of incredible what the recent Fox News has been covering in regards to this countdown to disclosure. And by the way, our documentary is exceeding all expectations. It's blowing up on all platforms. It's the #1 movie in regards to the Orchard and 1091 Pictures list of top videos on their whole entire network of movies that they have under their belt. So it's exciting. But this countdown to disclosure coming up, recently Fox has been interviewing some congressmen and some insiders. Can you tell us the difference between the white hats, the black hats, and the different agendas that they have?
Well, we see this this group of black hats that have been working with this UFO disclosure stuff that has been going on for a long time, like Tony Podesta, Senator Harry Reid. They are a well-known group of people working with TTSA as well, and they've all been working together for this version of UFO disclosure that they have going on. And now apparently they have many others working with them as well, as we go to this, as we are now in this countdown to disclosure. I don't know how you guys knew to name your movie Countdown to Disclosure when we're just at the time that we are in a countdown to disclosure. That's something that's really strange cosmic coincidence. But leaving that aside, we now see that there are white hats that are now trying to get in on this countdown. As we saw the former director of the NIDS, I forget his name, but you'll show the scene of him on Fox News, where he's talking to our old friend on Fox News, who only shows their version of disclosure. He doesn't take any disclosure material from anybody else other than his little group. So we need to look at this, and we need to realize that this countdown to disclosure is leading us to something really, really important. But I don't know that it's going to be anything that actually would help us. I think the real disclosure is going to come from another place, maybe at the same time as the government disclosure of files occurs. I think it's like in 2 months now. I think we're down to like 60 days when it's going to occur, supposedly. So we're looking at a lot of different disclosures from a lot of different places at this point.
Yeah, we're going to find out what happens, and it's incredible. Like you said, we came up with the title Countdown to Disclosure, and then we released our trailer, and then 2 days later they come up with the Countdown to UFO Disclosure. I don't think it's a coincidence, and by the way, it didn't hurt us by any means. So if anybody punches in the Countdown to Disclosure, our documentary pops right up. So it's a good thing. It's pretty incredible. Now, it's interesting to note as well, John, you've been working on some goals of yours coming up in the future. So let's take a look at this clip that John's allowed us to share with you right here at Third Phase Moon. Watch this.
My name's John DeSouza. I was a special agent in the FBI with top secret security clearances for 25 years. I started out working cases in terrorism and high-profile crimes, but ultimately, I moved into a different kind of work. Cases the Bureau just couldn't explain with normal logic. Hauntings, mysterious vanishings, divine communications, psychic premonitions, and most of all, extraterrestrials. The government has thousands of open cases of alleged alien sightings, contacts, and, yes, abductions. These cases became my obsession and my passion.
We're all just being fed garbage, and we're not being told the truth.
Now, I left the Bureau, and I'm on a new mission. The most comprehensive search ever done for proof of alien life here on Earth. We'll be pursuing the clues, patterns, and leads wherever they take us. Alien encounters, abductions, UFO sightings and hotspots, cattle mutilations, crop circles, Roswell, ancient architecture, unexplained signals and messages, alien cults, and so much more. I'll be rolling up my sleeves to examine real evidence, meet real eyewitnesses, and ask tough questions to separate the real from the fake.
Full-blown skeptics leave full-blown experiencers.
If there's real proof of alien life out there, we're gonna find it.
All right, so we're back with John, and this is an incredible, goal that you have coming up. You want to basically make things happen, get to the point. Tell us about this this video we just saw in regards to your step-by-step goals that you want to achieve here.
Yeah, we want to be involved in the search for truth here. We all want to be doing this, and the main thing that we can do in finding paranormal phenomena, supernatural phenomena, is that we have to spread goals and standards, best practices, standards that we can share with each other. Like the criteria I was just showing you guys, these are all things that investigators like you, Blake and Brent, you guys do this stuff instinctively, reflexively. It's already in your muscle memory. You do this everywhere you go. But what I find is that it helps people, especially investigators, it helps investigators to articulate these standards, to articulate these sorts of criteria in a clearly understandable way, so that we can share these with each other, and people can, when they're ready to investigate these things openly, and ready to investigate, instead of just accepting whatever the media gives them on a plate to consume. When they're ready to say no to that and investigate these things for themselves, they can then use these standards and use them to find out the truth about what's really going on in their own lives.
You know, we really appreciate, John, the work you've been doing behind the scenes after you retired from the counterterrorism unit in the FBI, and your passion to find out about exactly the truth of the phenomenon. And that's what we're trying to do right here at Third Phase Moon, and this collaboration that we've been able to obtain with each other over the past month and a half is quite incredible, to say the least. And I can't imagine what the future is going to bring with what your knowledge is and the knowledge that we're receiving, and then combining that to get down with an investigative kind of side to it, more than any other agency or faction in the world, because Third Phase Moon is receiving the videos and we're putting it out as fast as possible, the pinnacle of the information right here at Third Phase of Moon. And your participation is very insightful, and to have your kind of stature behind us, it really helps the cause. John, well, is there anything you want to let everybody know in regards to what you're going to be working on soon? How can people get in touch with you? And again, we're going to have John back next month, but John, go ahead.
Oh, I want people to look into these, go check out my website, johnthamabooks.com. That is my website. And also, I want them to check out my book, The Extra Dimensionals, where I talk about a lot of these standards and practices that we need to use in looking into these cases. It's very important. And as they're doing that, I want them to also be watching Countdown to Disclosure as well, because that movie it's the most important movie that's come out in many years, because it shows us exactly where we are in this disclosure process and exactly what it's leading to as well, which is going to affect every single one of our lives, whether we believe it or not. And once it all happens, it's going to be too late to learn. It's going to be too late to cooperate and help each other to find out what's really going on. So people need to do these things now before time gets away from them. And that's what I want to share with you guys and with your great audience.
Absolutely. It's very amazing there, John. And for everybody out there, if you haven't seen Countdown to Disclosure, it's up right now on all streaming platforms. But I got some good news for you. We're working on the sequel as we speak. We're lining up some incredible interviews. We're getting access to these agencies, and we're going to find out a lot. You're going to find out a lot about this, cover-up that's happening right now. The technology is there for everybody. And before I let you go, John, I want to ask you one last thing about a recent event that happened on Fox News. Bartiromo was interviewing some congressmen about the countdown to disclosure, and in the background they have this B-roll of UFO footage, but they're sharing obvious CGI footage from an iPhone app that makes it appear that UFOs are up there. Why is Fox not using the public's information? We've reached out to Fox to try and share the public's videos, the real stuff, not this app stuff. What do you think the agenda is?
Yeah, Fox and CNN, they're the same. I mean, they're the same owners basically. They're all involved in getting people to accept these ridiculous videos that are obvious CGIs, they're obvious fakes, and just the way that they're getting people to try to get them to accept these tic-tac military videos showing this stuff that makes it look like we're back in the 1950s, through the gun sights of the pilot over there, and getting us to accept these videos as being something credible or real or authentic. It's just ridiculous. So they're trying to retrograde the thinking of the American public in the world of UFOs. They don't want you to advance. They don't want people to learn what's really going on from places like Third Phase of Moon. They want people to be just accepting whatever nonsense they put forward. And it's really sad because it means that they're not leading us anyplace good. Not until they change what they're doing real fast.
You know, let's hope they change. Let's hope they reach out to us, because we're an open source and we want to help in the way we can. And we're trying to reach out to Fox to say, hey, look, if you're going to share any footage, share it from a person that actually shot it, so you could verify that this is authentic footage. And John.
Exactly. Basic investigation. Absolutely.
Exactly, John. I appreciate you joining us today. We look forward to speaking to you next month. And you be safe out there, John. Say hi to your lovely wife, Bella, and you be safe out there.
Will do, Blake. Absolutely. Thanks so much.
It's been our pleasure right here at Third Phase of Moon, bringing John DeSouza on board, getting insight from a retired FBI agent. It's incredible. Everybody out there, if you captured anything amazing, let us know right here at Third Phase of Moon. Blake Cousins, keep your eyes on the skies, everybody. We'll see you next time.